Welcome to Big Market Debate, powered by Investonomics, an initiative by ICICI Direct. And joining me today is Mr. Ashish Kapoor, CEO Invest Shopee, and Mr. Sachin Sarvade, market expert. Welcome, Ashish and Sachin.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
My first question is for Ashish. Ashish, what do you expect from the current levels? We are seeing markets are ruling at record highs with the broad-based rally that we have seen in last 1.5 years. So what is expected from these levels? Do you expect some bit of a correction, or you still expect the markets to move higher as far as the kind of earnings that we are expecting from the corporate India?
Well, I think broadly speaking, the markets are set to move higher. I mean, I do not rule out some corrections on the way, and very, very difficult to predict those. But for an investor, I think things are still looking very good. And I will say this, that yes, what we have seen in the last 1 year is nearly impossible to replicate, because we have seen the indices double. Now, that obviously can't happen moving forward. We won't see next 12 months indices double. That will not happen. But what will happen is that markets will continue to be very buoyant, and money making opportunities will be there. And if I have to just name, just to kind of broadly tell you the three reasons why I think is we are in a very bullish zone. One is that, whatever big tremor or panic or pandemic has happened in history, whether it was the Spanish flu 100 years back or the world wars, always resulted in a period of great economic pickup.
Okay.
So something happens by which the economic activity gets a lot of boost after a very big shakeout. And that's what we are seeing right now. So we can expect the next 5-7 years to be very good economically, not only for India, but also for generally for the world. So that should help any stock market boom from sustaining. The second, of course, is a liquidity factor. The kind of liquidity which has been pumped in by the Fed, by the US Fed, and also by the other central banks, will ultimately find money into assets. So asset prices are likely to continue going higher. Third, India specific. What we have seen is last few years a combination of reforms, GST, tightening of rules, plus this pandemic which is playing out, has resulted in, whether we can say it's a correct thing or wrong thing, but has resulted in the bigger companies getting bigger market share, concentration of businesses happening. You can say consolidation happening with the larger, more organized players. And stock market is mostly reflecting the larger companies or the more organized segment of the markets. So the organized segment is actually going to do even better, because many of the smaller marginalized players are not going to be able to survive the kind of changes we have seen over the last few years, plus this pandemic. So even from that point of view, it's a big positive for the market. So I think the markets are going to definitely sustain. Yes, you have to, of course, lower down the expectations, can't be as good as last year. And of course, it has to be stock specific. Not everything will go up, because it's not such a cheap market anymore. So stock specific one approach will have to be adopted. But yes, there is still far more room on the upside.
Sachin, if I talk about the levels on the technical front, Nifty around 16,000 levels, what is expected for the Nifty in near term?
I agree with Mr. Kapoor. Like, markets are on a bull run. So by expecting, because the liquidity factor, Mr. Kapoor also told, yeah, even I agree with that. So I don't expect any large correction in markets, because markets are very range bound currently. So I expect around 16,500, 17,000 odd levels as well in the near term. So one should not expect any big corrections in market. Of course, I will tell any pullback to buy opportunity.
So it's a buy on dip markets.
Yes, buy on dips.
Ashish, which are the sectors that you expect to perform from here on? Because if we talk about some of the sectors like IT, pharma, and metals, which largely have done very well in last 1 year. So which are the sectors that you now think are going to really do well going forward?
Well, I think we can find stocks in nearly every sector, and that's a big advantage of India because we have a very good range and selection of companies. But if you ask me to pinpoint certain sectors, I think one is metals. Metals and commodities in general are going to see are already in a big bull market, but this bull market on the back of the kind of liquidity that is running in the system will continue next few years going forward. So that is one sector to focus on. And luckily in India, we do have a very wide range of stocks dealing in metals, both ferrous and non-ferrous. So that is one area to focus on. Second is sugar. Now, sugar, there's a very big change which has happened. Earlier, the sugar cycles used to not last very long, but this time they're likely to be very long because sugar companies have got a very big boost because of the ethanol, play happening now. Ethanol, both the percentage, this thing has gone up, plus the prices have been revised, and being helpful in substituting imported fuel. This is going to be a very big game changer. So actually, nearly all sugar companies will have a very good run in the next few years going forward, and there will more be ethanol, and sugar will be less. So ethanol being such a now secular growth story going forward, sugar companies, despite the run up, still look very good, and that's something which you should all have in your portfolio. Then I think the side effect of pandemic is healthcare. So I think companies which have hospitals or dealing in healthcare systems, path labs, pharma. So broadly, healthcare is a broad segment which includes all this. It includes pharma, any kind of diagnostics, hospital chains. All these are likely to continue doing well. Again, a big opportunity because a big focus has come back to improving health infrastructure, and everybody has become health conscious. I would include even health insurance in this. So all these things are going to continue moving forward. And the another one is chemicals. Now, chemicals, there's a story. A lot of good companies have run up, but still this story is going to continue for a few more years as production is shifting out of China for various reasons, and India would certainly continue to get larger market share going forward. That is one more sector to look at. And then IT, of course, IT advantage with India is that you have a very large English speaking population with the very good analytical and logical reasoning skills. So that is something to, again, also the kind of companies we have are also very good, well established, having very clean balance sheets and a very transparent and efficient management on them. So the IT would continue to remain in focus and do well. Apart from that, like I said, I think there are certain things in which you can assume that the growth will continue. One, of course, is consumption. I think as more and more people move up into middle class, I think anything to do with consumption will see a very big boost going forward. So consumption is kind of a very eternal evergreen scheme in India, which will continue to theme in India, which will continue to remain going forward. So these are the broad ideas, and I think if I may add one more, which is coming into an own, and I think it's a little contrary right now, but will become quite good going forward, and that is real estate, because real estate has been lying low for about 10 years now. And has seen a very good consolidation. A lot of fringe players have moved out, and I think the sector itself is going to do well once the pandemic gets over, and that is going to get reflected in the share prices. Again, just a handful of them have moved up, but I think the scope here is a lot going forward. So these are broadly the sectors, but like I said, you can find individual picks even in any other sector also, but broadly these are the 5-6 sectors which you should focus on.
You seem to be quite optimistic, Ashish. I mean, the kind of sector, sectors that you have elaborated on, it seems to be a broad-based rally that we are looking forward to. Sachin, if we talk about two sectors which have emerged and which Ashish has spoken about, is sugar and real estate, which have been lying very low from quite long time, 5 to 6 years now, and now have been emerging and showing some kind of a positive trend. So what do you like in sugar space and real estate space?
Comparatively, sugar, I'm more bullish on real estate. As we can see in Nifty Realty as well, because it's a broad-based index, we have seen a 10-year breakout. So that is a sustainable breakout. I feel so. I am very bullish in Nifty Realty comparatively, and because sugar is not it is not comparatively a index. So normally I don't track.
Okay.
So comparatively, and it is very risky as well. So I feel comfortable in real estate. The second sector I would bet will be metals. Same
Okay.
story, 10-year big breakout. These two sectors are the next decade breakouts, I will say. So
Okay.
it will be a very good if people don't have any stocks specific, they haven't put their money in these two sectors, they will lose it.
Okay. Sachin, which are the stocks that you bet on? I mean, you spoke about the index doing well, real estate and metals. So, any particular stocks that you have identified which technically look good to you?
Yeah. So two stocks I will recommend from real estate background. Yeah, one will be DLF. This will be very risky bet, but yeah, this I look very good. It's a again 10-year breakout chart, and I feel around the like minimum to minimum. I feel 40 to 80% return from now.
Okay.
The horizon will be of course 1 year plus. The
Okay.
second stock will be Godrej Properties. I like this stock, and comparatively not, it will be too aggressive like DLF, but yeah, this will perform very good. So we can expect 30 to 60% return if the horizon is above 1 year.
Okay.
Coming back to metals, so I like two more stocks. One is Tata Steel. So even this is a very broad based breakout we have seen on charts on a very higher time frame charts. So I feel Tata Steel will outperform others in a metal sector. So I feel comparatively 50% is a very easy target for 1 plus year. And the second space is I feel it is Hindalco. It is very undervalued. The stock is very good. Same, a 14-year breakout it has given, and I feel 50% also same with Hindalco.
Okay. Ashish, you didn't speak about the banking space. Do you don't like banking space, or you find some bit of challenges really ahead for this space to really cope up?
No, nothing like that. I mean, I think you already have labeled me as kind of an extreme bull because the kind of sectors which I have already mentioned. See, when I talked about consumption, consumption would include FMCG, would include consumer durables, would include entertainment, would include holidays, would also include private banking in this thing because a lot of that consumption is funded directly or indirectly by private banking. It will also include some of the marquee names in the NBFC space.
Okay.
So that kind of consumption kind of covers a number of sectors.
Ashish, looking at the earnings, the first quarter earnings are being, declared by the companies. What have you gauged till now? I mean, what is the kind of earnings that have come out, and what do you expect for as far as the earnings are concerned in next 3 to 4 quarters ahead?
Well, mostly so far we have seen IT, and I think IT sector was the least affected, I think, by the pandemic because most of it was able to carry on activity from home. Going forward, I think this quarter, yes, results would be impacted because we had April, May nearly a lockdown situation. But the pickup would be very good, I think, going forward, especially for companies which are well managed. And I think we have to give it to the Indian corporate sector and the Indian mindset in general to be able to find solutions when the going is tough. So that system has, I think, made us more innovative, made us more cost efficient, and unfortunate that you needed a pandemic for this to happen, but actually we will find, in my opinion, in 3 to 4 quarters you will see the marquee names in nearly every sector reporting excellent numbers because not only will the revenue start picking up, the cost saving and the kind of innovations that they have done because of this of the extreme situation in the last 1 year would start resulting in better return ratios and better cash position, better margins, and that will really improve balance sheets and the earning growth trajectory.
Talking about the consumption, Sachin, anything you like in the auto space, which has been lying low? If we talk about companies like Maruti, Tata Motors has done well, while the other companies are Ashok Leyland and Ayusha Motors. Anything you like on the charts for auto?
Comparatively, auto, I have seen it is very weak comparatively. So, would bet not directly on auto, ancillaries would be better. I like Bosch. So, the target for Bosch will be 30% plus if you have a horizon of 1 year plus.
Anything you like, Ashish, in the auto space? Because auto has been facing a bit of challenges as far as the demand is concerned. Now with the numbers, monthly numbers that we saw for the last month, we had some kind of a positive feedback as far as the demand is concerned, and tractor demand is also picking up, while two-wheelers and passenger vehicle demand is also shown a bit of buoyancy. So anything you like in the auto space, or would you stay away?
No, I think certainly auto would come back in a big way. I think one is that the number of people now having vehicles because of some sort of a scare of using public transport is also paying up. I think Maruti clearly has underperformed for some time now, and I think the story is very clear going ahead. I mean, if the kind of income growth we're talking about happens, then Maruti would certainly be a beneficiary because that continues to remain the leader especially as far as the affordable segment is concerned. The other thing is, of course, if you are ready to take a bit of a volatility going forward, then Tata Motors itself is a very good idea, because Tata Motors, there's number of one number of triggers which will play out, including the global demand coming back, and also the commercial vehicles segment in India, which I think is going to see a very major boost going forward. So for a very safe investor who doesn't want to take any chances, then Maruti would be the choice. Otherwise, I think Tata Motors, for anybody ready to take a bit of risk for a higher return, would be Tata Motors. And along with that, I think the sector which with the segment which looks pretty good in the auto ancillary space would be the tire segment. Again, we have a lot of companies here which are doing very well. And to my mind, another stock which is looking very good and somehow is not getting noticed much in the market is Exide. Because a very big play going forward will be the electric vehicle play. And Exide is the first name which comes when you think of batteries. And batteries are a very key component in an electric vehicle. And what Exide has also done is has taken the first mover advantage, already moved into manufacturing of batteries required for electric vehicles. So Exide somehow very strangely has underperformed in the last several months. So Exide, according to me, is giving a very great opportunity for someone looking at entering into the auto ancillary space. Apart from that, I also agree that Bosch is also something which is very good, looking very attractive, has underperformed for a long period of time, and clearly looking like a very safe and attractive bet at the current price.
Sachin, anything you like in the mid-cap space?
Mid-cap comparatively, it is very risky as of now because as you were told earlier only. So I feel comparatively to have with majorly with large caps and somewhat comparatively like with Nifty 100 stock, something like that. That will be majorly very good. But comparatively IT, yeah. So in IT, I can give good stocks. One is I like Wipro. So from Wipro, even from current levels as well, we can expect 30% levels. And the second, the gem is Tech Mahindra. So normally people don't see Tech Mahindra because it is not a high beta stock. But comparatively, I feel 30% is an easy cakewalk if the horizon is 1 year plus.
Okay, the two stocks that you bet on is Tech Mahindra and Wipro. Ashish, one of the key risks that markets is facing right now is first, when will Fed start tapering and the kind of impact that will have on the emerging markets? And second, if we have higher inflation that we saw from last 2 months consecutively, what will RBI's policy be? Will it still be accommodative? So largely these kind of risks that we are facing presently, what do you have to say? I mean, what do you expect RBI to do? Do you expect the interest rate to go up, say by the end of this year?
Well, let me say, very difficult to predict these things, but I can give some kind of, let's say, assurance on this that whenever we talk about interest rate cycle, the normal theoretical thing is that if the interest rate goes up, the stock market should come down. That actually doesn't actually play out like that. I mean, if you look at the previous big bull market, 2003 to 2007, we were in a rising interest rate regime. Interest rates were gradually moving up, but that did not prevent us from getting the biggest bull market so far in our, in our lifetime. So there is nothing really to think so much, because I think interest rates will at some stage start moving up, probably, but that doesn't necessarily take away the earning momentum from the at least the well established and the well managed players. So I don't think that will really be such a big factor as it is being played out. And secondly, regarding Fed, look, I don't know how it's happening, but since 2008, one has been hearing of, or 2009, maybe after the first quantitative easing was announced, one has been hearing of Fed risk that, Fed at some stage will tighten the thing. We have already been 12 years into it. There have been occasions in between when the Fed has gone in for some tightening. But broadly, I think we are going to live in a very easy liquidity regime for many years to come. Even if 2023 they do tighten a bit, but still overall, it's not that the interest rates are really going to really rocket up or the tightening is going to happen very severely. I think broadly the easy money will be there, but like I said, it's of course one has to trade with caution because a lot of asset prices have gone up, so you have to be a little cautious. But broadly, I don't see any of the things, either the interest rates moving up here or the Fed tightening to really finish the bull market. There would be hiccups on the way, and which will happen for various other reasons also. But I think the next few years, if you remain invested and remain invested in quality names, you still will make a lot of money. Of course, the ride will not be as easy and as smooth as what the last 12, 13 months was.
Are you betting on domestic cyclicals or global cyclicals? Ashish.
Okay. See, I'm betting when it comes to cyclicals. I mean, if you're looking at metals, then of course the tailwind is coming from global markets, and I think that is clearly there. And there are also certain domestic things I think which will play out. I think the infra story is also looking very good. The kind of road building happening and the kind of other reform activities which are happening will result in a lot of, including what we talked about sugar earlier, is something very domestic and something which will play out very well. So I think it's both domestic as well as global.
Sachin, you spoke about the 100 stocks that you track. Any top 3 bets that you would like to share with our viewers?
So comparatively, if I'm very bullish, I will go with Tata Steel, as I already told you earlier. The second bet will be DLF, and the third bet will be Wipro.
Okay, the 3 of you. This you like the most.
Yes.
Ashish, we have seen a rush of retail investors, first-time investors entering into the market. What would you suggest them? I mean, it seems to them that it's very easy to make money in these kinds of markets, and they are trying to get into markets directly and not through mutual funds at all. So, what will your advice be to such youngsters and the first-time investors in stock market?
Well, I think the advice would be that, yes, there is a lot of money to be made in the markets, but you should take one step at a time. I think the easiest thing for a new investor to do is to buy the index. Index seems very boring as an investment idea, but trust me, it is the easiest and the safest, and also very suitable for a new investor. Because you in one shot you get, either if you do the Sensex you get 30, and if you do the Nifty you get 50 large well-established companies in one shot. You don't have to do any research on it. It doesn't cost much money because you have index funds and you also have ETFs which are index linked. So either way, I think the first step has to be the index till you really are able to understand the markets and at least pay out some cycle. Maybe not the end of the bull market, but at least some corrective cycles you have played out. It's best to start and stay with the index funds. Index funds also give you the least drawdown usually, because if you're individually picked up stocks, some of them may go very deep down in a correction and may make you really feel scared and not be able to come back again. So it's remain with the index till you really get the confidence and the understanding of the market. That is, I think, the first. And second is, there's something which is a part of every bull market, is the IPO rush. I think IPOs, unless you really understand the company and it is coming in at a good price, which usually doesn't happen in a bull market,
Yes.
stay away from IPO. So that is the advice, at least to not only I think new investors, I think to nearly all investors. The kind of pricing at which the IPOs are coming now is best to stay away. I mean, you will find the equivalent industry, equivalent kind of company listed at a much cheaper price. So why go and risk your money in that? So unless some IPO comes with a very attractive offer, generally stay away from IPOs, especially now because there's too much frenzy and too heavy, too aggressive pricing happening now.
Sachin, your advice to the youngsters which are entering the stock market and getting into technicals.
Would advise like technical is not everyone's cake of like money, and would like to tell like technical is not 100% of markets. I divide into three parts. If only technicals I say, so it is like 30% of the market. It is only entry, exits, right? The second 30% would be your money management. People don't manage their money properly. They don't have their they do leverage positions. So if they are right technically as well, but if they are over leveraged, so still they can lose their money. And
Right.
third is like psychology. So I majorly focus on trading psychology. So it is a 40% of the market. So this comprises of total 100%. First is 30% technicals, only for entry exits. Seconds are money management, how much to put, when to put, right? And the last is trading psychology. It is not that easy. In a bull run, it is everything is easy. But when we see markets like the opposite side, the bear run, right? So that will be your psychology will keep you calm and you will be able to hold your positions correctly. And one more thing I would like to say to youngsters is please don't keep mental stops. People are keeping stop loss in their mind. So stop loss are not going to work out in your mind. They will not do any good in your mind. It should be placed in the system. Even closing basis stop losses. I have devised one thing. It's like around 315. You can actually close your positions which are into like for a closing basis stop loss. You do not have to carry or the risk of gap up or gap down.
Thank you, Ashish, and thank you, Sachin, for being with us. It was real pleasure speaking to you, both of you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure was entirely ours. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us.